The routing table represents the best routes that we currently know. The best routes. What are the best routes for EIGRP? Well, we call them successor routes. Successor routes. For EIGRP, try to find their way, try to burst into the routing table. They have to have the best administrative distance, but EIGRP has a really good administrative distance of 90. So if I were to want to see these routes living and breathing in the routing table, I could do a show IP route, which shows me the whole thing, or I could say just show me the EIGRP routes in the routing table. Don't show me the other stuff. Let's, in fact, see this and get used to it. I think it's important to get used to these things. So I'll do a show IP route, and that'll show me everything. Now, I can see some EIGRP routes right here. How do we recognize them as EIGRP? Well, they have the letter D, which doesn't make sense unless you think that they ran out of the letter E. They already had used it for EGP. And in its place, they chose D for the dual algorithm of EIGRP. So these are EIGRP routes in action. You have to know the D code of what's in the brackets. What is the 90? 90 is the administrative distance. The 3072 that I'm highlighting, that's the metric, what we would call the feasible distance for that successor route for EIGRP. Why are we showing two lines? Any ideas about that? Well, let's look at where 10.1.1 is. I can see 10.1.1 right there. We've got two ways of getting to that destination. I could go through R1 or R2, so I'm equally load balancing. The metrics are the same. No surprise, because we've got gig interlinks between R3 and 1 and 2, so that looks good. That's how to interpret it. You can see the next hop IP address. You can see duration of how long that entry has been in the table. 23 hours. Looks good. I'm going to spacebar through our routing table, and we'll also see local routes, which says, hey, this is an IP address on the local device. You know how to reach that. And also connected. This is an adjacent subnet to the routing device. So being able to interpret the routing table is critical for really any routing protocol out there. And EIGRP, we recognize it with the letter D, and it's got administrative distance of 90.